Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out the Clan of the Lion. Now, this particular clan is only available by buying the Cross of Vidar expansion. This Cross of Vidar expansion comes with a whole new campaign, as well as this new Clan of the Lion. And I'm only going to review the Clan of the Lion part of it today. I have really no interest in doing the campaign. I've never touched the original Northgard campaign. I'm really only interested in Skirmish just for fun, and I thought I'd give Clan of the Lion a whirl in Skirmish just to see what it was like. So here's a quick look at the overview of it. It's difficult to learn, is about moderate. Development is 2, military 3, and support 0. Yeah. Starting bonuses. Zones with military camps gain +1 livability. So livability is a whole new resource / housing slot in this game, which I'll explain in a little bit. Killing a foe generates faith if Hildegard takes part in the fight. So Hildegard is your special hero unit that you can hire. Faith is the new resource instead of lore. So rather than generate lore, you're generating faith. Okay. Also, military units can be recruited using faith instead of crowns. So you have the ability to buy units with faith. So if you don't really care much about tech and you don't have a whole lot of money, then you can just use faith, which is, effectively your science points, to recruit military. Fame bonuses. Religious processions requires 200 fame. Feasts cost 3% less for each acquired knowledge and vow. Each military camp in a zone with prosperity gains a 5% attack bonus to the associated unit. Also, for 500, you can evolve monks into paladins for a cost in faith. Paladins can be assigned a relic and carry it with them, including into enemy territory. Relics require no building slot. And then you've got these special guys down here. Here's the relic. Clan units who died within the Lance's zone can be revived in exchange for faith. And Hildegard is, again, sort of like your hero unit for this faction. Then you've got the Paladin, which, again, you can convert your monks to the Paladin. I will say this is, first of all, this faction blew my mind, because it doesn't play anything like I've ever seen before. But I was also, really, really frustrated by it at first. Let's just go back, and I'll load the save that I'm currently working on. So, single player. Alright, let's come down here, and then come back here. There we go. Load game. And line. Okay. Now, keep in mind, I've been playing this for about an hour and a half just to get a feel of it. I'm not really focusing on destroying my opponent. More than likely, I'm just, messing around. So you start, as usual. Instead of a town hall, though, you've got this cathedral building. And then you put various buildings down. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the build menu real quick. I don't know if I can do it from... Yes, I can. Okay. So I'm going to pause my playthrough so I can take you through the build menu. You'll notice that the amount of buildings you have is almost half of what you would get with the other factions. But don't let that deceive you, because each of these, well, most of them, can be upgraded to different variants. So here's an example. Pathfinder Pavilion. This is your scout building, and they do what other scout buildings do. They reveal new land. You can upgrade it in order to get into enemy territory. Nothing really new there, but they can explore ruins, shipwrecks, and the like. Houses, again, you can just upgrade them to get more people. Tavern. So this is like the brewery for the Viking clans. So this is one of the buildings that you can evolve into one of two different things. You can evolve it into a bar room, which makes happiness bonuses greater for assigning people there. Or you can upgrade it so that it increases the livability in all adjacent zones. And again, I'll touch on livability in a little bit. But suffice it to say that some of these buildings can be like there's an upgrade tree, and you can pick either ore that you want. So you may need multiples of a core building so that you can upgrade one way and upgrade another a different way. The foraging post. This takes the place of all food buildings in the game. Before, you could build an individual farm, a fishery. Here, you're just going to build the foraging post, and then it can evolve into a farmstead, a fishery, or a venery, which is slightly inferior winter yields, whatever. But yeah, it's so weird. Like, you have to upgrade everything in this game in order to really get anywhere, at least with this particular faction. Now, the foraging post, I will say, is god-awful, the core of it. Each villager assigned there only gives you 2 food. The only way you're going to survive early on is, as you're bringing in more people, you really need to upgrade your foraging post into a farmstead or into a fishery in order to really start bringing in the food. I was struggling. I was like, let's put a foraging post here, a foraging post there. Nope, I barely broke even. I even came close to starving one winter. And I'm like, this isn't working. I got to do something. So I had to rush stone in order to upgrade these things. Pro tip, this faction relies heavily on stone because of this whole upgrade system. So without stone, your food production will get nowhere. Okay? In order to upgrade these buildings to their better versions, and whichever way you go, you need stone. So stone is going to be an extremely important resource for this particular faction. Lumber camps, you know what they do. You can assign people to it to chop wood. You can upgrade them. There's no specialization there. There's a mart, which can evolve. This is for generating money, but it can also upgrade into a fairground so that you can trade with other factions, or you can upgrade it to be a resource exchange. So in the Viking factions, you could build the trader and the other one, whatever it was called, marketplace. You could build either one of them. Here, you build one building and then you upgrade it into either or. Again, you're spending stone to do that. Normally, you would not have to spend stone at all to build these things with the Viking clans. Here, you have to spend stone to upgrade it to one of those 2 things. The anchorage is like your port. That can upgrade into a merchant port for great trade routes and faster production. Or you can upgrade it to a seaport for... That way you can get multiple resources brought in over time. So you may need 2 of these ports, one to do one to do another. The mine doesn't do anything, like you can't upgrade it really. Nothing to really talk about there. Smithies, you put them in a zone with a military to buff it up, and I'll explain that later. But also, it enhances the production in the zone by 20%, without occupying a livability slot. Don't worry, I'll get to livability in a minute. Sentry camps. This is your barracks. You're going to upgrade it into one of 3 different things. You can purchase sentries, which is the default unit, but they've got like frying pans or whatever. So you need to evolve this sentry camp into either a champion camp, fantassin camp, and an archery camp. One of those 3. So you're going to need 3 of these sentry camps and upgrade each one 3 times. Like, upgrade one once, upgrade another one once. So total of 3 upgrades using stone just to activate all these special ones, which is crazy. The fort is kind of like the defense tower, but instead you assign a subject or a villager to it, and it becomes a lord and will guard the zone. Okay? So there's no like automated defense building, like the defensive tower, as far as I can tell. I am going to build one of these shortly just to test that, because I don't have one yet. The monastery is like your healer's hut, in that your monks can heal units. But keep in mind that it can be upgraded into one of 2 things. Relic creation and abundant faith, or an abbey, which is sort of like your altar of the kings, where it gives you food, wood, crowns, and faith production depending on your fame. Monks produce additional fame. And then there's a relic slot here, but you must create a relic in the forge before you can build it. I don't have a forge except for... hit P for pause. I have a forge in this relic... So I have to spend resources. Let's go with the... population increase and productivity now require faith instead of happiness. All resources produced in the zone are replaced with crowns, and all deaths in the zones... Let's go with that lance. I love that. I can revive units with faith. So I'm going to construct that particular relic. But anyway, let's get to that longevity thing. So you're familiar with the whole build slot idea, right? You can only have so many buildings in a zone. Well, now think about the amount of workers you have assigned to those buildings. That is its own restriction. So you might be able to put a lumberjack and a farm and this. So that's like 3 buildings, right? However, you're limited by livability. That's the number of workers you can assign to that zone. And typically it's only like 3 to start with in the game. So I made the mistake of doing lumberjack and foraging camp and all that. I was able to assign 1 to one and 2 to the other one, and then I'm like, I can't assign anymore. So now how do I increase this livability? How do I make it better? First of all, it's you can develop the zone with crowns in order to increase the build slot and the livability. Oh, the dwarves are launching an attack against me. I wish I knew where. Oh, let's come over here and just wreck them. I will go back to that in a moment. These dwarves just are annoying. Alright. So, coming back here, like in this zone, for example, if you look at the tooltip above my head, 2 of 4 buildings, 3 of 4 livability, and then the rest of these resources. That means I can assign a total of 4 workers to various buildings in this zone. Yeah, that's it. That's how many workers I can assign. So, I can have maybe 2 monks and 2 traders, or whatever they're called, for this merchant building. That's it. So, I have to sort of specialize my zones. This zone is strictly going to be farmland, or whatever. And this zone is going to be strictly farmland. This miner is not doing anything. Let's go ahead and close that and come over here. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to build a mine up here. And that will be my 4th livability slot. Not housing slot. I got 3 of 4 buildings here, but assigning a miner to this mine will be 4 of 4, and I won't be able to assign any more workers, regardless. Now, what's cool is that these buildings don't have a worker limit, at least as far as I can tell. For example, this farm here, it's got 3 people assigned to it. I've assigned 5 to a farm. This one has 5. So, buildings themselves don't have worker caps. Rather, zones have worker caps. It's so weird. So I've had the amount of times I've had to delete buildings so that I could rebuild them elsewhere. Let me tell you, it's just a headache. It really is a headache. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this. Let's quickly go over. I'm gonna hit pause and hopefully, yes, I can. So this is the new faith /lore/research tree for the lion faction. I'll just go over the ones that have the lion symbol on them, which means it's unique to them. Steelwork. Each military building in a zone with an active smithy provides a plus 5% defense bonus to the associated unit. So put a smithy in a barracks area and they'll generate a passive defensive buff, which is cool. OST, whatever, your next sentry camp upgrade is free. So remember how I said there's a sentry camp and you can upgrade it in 3 different ways? Well, this makes one of that upgrades free, and then your military experience is increased by 15%. There's a march field. Military upgrades unlock faster and have a higher chance to trigger. This Chanson Day Guest, whatever. Killing mystical creatures generates faith. And then down here, you've got Miraculous Healing. Religious buildings slowly heal units within their zones. That's kind of nice, but I typically don't need a whole lot of that anyway. I've got monks in the back doing that. So anyway, I will play for a little bit so you can kind of get a feel of what's going on and why I'm doing what I'm doing. But at the moment, my food is at, -6 and wood is +8. Like, it took forever to get here. I've been playing this playthrough for like an hour, and I was stuck on these back zones for the longest time. Only recently did I expand. This is one of the slowest growing factions that I've ever encountered. Now, keep in mind, this is my first time playing this faction. I've been doing a lot of building hopping, like, okay, I need to focus this resource here, and I want to focus this resource here, and here's my... I've got a tavern here, and I've got a retail outlet here for my crowns. This has a livability of 2 of 5. It used to be 3, but I've upgraded... Oh, I forgot to show you. Let's pause that. These are the vows that I was talking about. Before, there were blessings, right, for the Viking clans. Now there are vows, for at least this faction. The vow of chastity. The food consumption of all units is reduced by 20%. The vow of obedience. Livability is increased by +1 in all your zones. So that basically your worker cap in all zones is increased by 1. Vow of poverty. You immediately receive 10 stone, 10 iron, and 100 crowns. So that's cool. So those are the different vows that you may have heard me refer to earlier. So yeah, like, a lot of this is trying to figure out what zones are going to be dedicated to what, because I can only assign so many workers. And I only have so much stone, too, so it's not like I can just I can build 3,000, I can build a tavern here and a tavern here. Taverns themselves increase livability in your area. That's one way to increase the livability in a zone. So this tavern, this livability is +5. 1 because of the tavern, and 1 because of my vow of obedience. But without the tavern and without that tech unlock, or that faith unlock, the maximum number of workers in this zone would be 3. So 1 here, and then maybe 2 here. I don't know. It all depends on what I feel like doing. So you just can't, like, have one zone dedicated to 3 or 4 different things. You have to, like, specialize, and then assign all of your workers to that building to get the most out of it. It's really weird. Let's go with that one. Sure. Okay. And as far as military is concerned, they're not half bad. It's kind of hard to see in the rain right now, but he or she, Hildegard, I'm guessing, very powerful. I got a sheep. Let's bring this sheep back here to safety. Well, now that I've got that free sentry camp, can I put that here? I can. Okay, so I'm going to throw that here. Gemstone deposit. Interesting. What now? I think I'm being overrun by something. Oh. Oh, I was going to try and build that fort. Zone is under attack. We'll put that here just to see what that looks like. Oh, another cool thing. The Viking clans, whenever a villager isn't doing something, they just harvest food. Assuming that that zone can harvest food. This faction, idle workers disgenerate faith, which is again, your unlock stuff. So that's interesting. Alright, so what am I going to do here? I may want another monk. Okay, so I am going to build this fort just to see if it does shoot on its own, or if I have to actually assign someone to it. That would be really annoying if I did. Gemstones, I'm not exactly sure what they're used for. Oh, that's just for the special dwarven prospectors, I guess. They're greedily looking for gemstone, mine it and sell it to them, or sell it for your own profit. The best contributor will receive stone and iron. Alright, so here's the sentry camp. I can click evolve. I got a free upgrade per the tooltip there. So again, I could do champion, fantassin camp, or archery. I've done these other two. I'll do this one. And now assign this one to it. and this one to it. The dwarves have launched an assault. They really love me. Alright. These fantasins are like defensive units, per the tooltip. Okay, so here's that fort. Recruit a lord. You can recruit one lord per fort. Alright, let's get these guys back here. This one needs, number of assigned clan members. I guess recruit a lord. There we go. So now I've got this lord. And, yeah, upgrade. Your lord will be able to go to a nearby zone. Oh, interesting. That's cool. So again, spending stone, which this is the most heavy faction I've ever seen. But spending stone, you can upgrade this in order to allow this lord to go to other places. But other than that, it looks like he'll just sort of patrol this area and do things. So yeah, let's just attack and show you the strength of these guys if I can. Hildegard here is really good. From a military standpoint, again, it takes forever to get them going because of your need to upgrade everything. But I feel like once you're upgraded, these guys are very good at what they're doing. Let's see how they fare against another actual faction here. I also want to give those paladins a try, too. Not really concerned about a villager poking me with their finger, so I'll just destroy that. Nice. Okay. Let's check out that monk thing. Oh, this is done. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to assume some of your units are under attack. Hildegard here could definitely use some healing. Let's retreat them. Alright, get that guy out of there. I like just cycle them out. They'll change targets. Let's get them out of there. They'll change targets. I think that one's dead. Okay. Those guys can heal. Again, I want to try and get that paladin thing. And I want that relic, too. Build the relic. Does it matter where it is? I guess I'll put it there. Clan of units who die within the Lance's zone can be revived in exchange for faith. Oh, do I have to put that somewhere? Oh. I'm wondering if I had to put that up here. I could have sworn, though, I had the ability to carry that. Great. Alright. Let's see if I can find a monk. There it is. So I can evolve a monk using faith. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So there's the paladin. And now I can have the paladin do that. I'm going to assign someone else to this building to replace them. But now I can bring this relic with me. Which is kind of awesome. So weird. The paladins themselves, legendary knights and defenders of faith, paladins can transport sacred relics on the battlefield. Okay. So yeah, that in a nutshell is Clan of the Lion. Kind of a long-winded video, but I wanted to show you what this particular faction was like. So that if you were to buy this solely for skirmish, like I did, then you'll know what you're getting into. Just be warned, it's a slow. This particular faction is a slow start. They've got a weird way of doing things, and it's a very stone-heavy faction. To get the most out of this faction, you have to upgrade the majority of their buildings and specialize them into different ways, and in doing so, you're going to spend a crap ton of stone. So if you are going to play this, and you're going to play this faction, make sure that you're locking down as much stone as possible. Also, if you can somehow do trades or buildings like this retail outlet, you can upgrade your crown's building so that you can buy resources. You're going to need to buy a lot of stone to make up for the fact that you're going to be upgrading a lot of different things. So, I guess with that being said, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I happen to publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Take care.